introduce tonight's speaker. He's really great and he's filling in, and I really appreciate it. This is Art.
Hi, I'm Art, grateful recovering addict.
Hey, Art.
Good to see you guys all here. Welcome, Watson, Mel, and Ian. Yeah, welcome to a life-changing program. I'm grateful you're here because, we can't keep what we have without giving it away, and like 12-step calls, and like just being here and seeing you here is like just gives me a new sense of hope. So I'm just grateful for you guys being here and a chance to like live a new life and like find all the gifts that you've always wanted in your life, right? Like this program offers that. So just keep coming back and do the suggestions, and just take it slowly and enjoy it because you deserve it. You deserve to recover. We all deserve to recover, even the people that have been here, and I deserve to recover, right? And so does Jacob and everyone else. So just wanted to honor you guys being here, and I came here. I was a newcomer once too, and it was hard. I thought I was special and different and unique, and that I didn't have a drug problem, and all the evidence pointed to that I did have a problem. But my denial and coping mechanisms were like protecting me from like seeing the truth. And so it took me a while to get this program. I basically kind of just kept coming to me. I came in on the court card, right? And I didn't get it. And then I got arrested again and all this stuff. But I finally came back and I realized like, oh, I heard my message. Someone else like, if you stick around long enough, you'll hear a share that's like, oh my God, this person's so like me. And you'll be like, and then you'll see them smiling and happy and like, maybe this thing actually works, and that cracked through my denial. So just keep coming back until you hear something that really resonates with you, and come back if you don't, because it's the similarities, not the differences, right? That we all have the similarities, and that's addiction. And it all manifests differently in our lives, but we all have like a chance to recover, and that unity together of like the more of us in here, the more diversity, the more unity, the more recovery, and the time and all the different personalities gives me like more of a backbone and more strength to like want to keep coming back. So I'm grateful you guys are here. So I'm going to go into my story, experience, strength, hope, right? So experience, like, how did my experience get me here? Well, this is for me, I think of the family lineage, right? I don't know about you guys, but in my family, there was drugs and alcohol. And my dad was an alcoholic, and my mom was mentally ill, and they used to party, and they were deadheads and stuff. So I kind of grew up in the deadhead hippie culture, kind of, so to speak. And my dad worked a lot, and yeah, I see the tie-dye. So you're in the right place, and there's a lot of history in my childhood that was very traumatic and abusive and neglectful, and just a lot of weird things that happened in my childhood that a lot of kids shouldn't have to go through, right? I moved every year of my life, so I didn't have a lot of stability. Basically, my parents were kind of neglecting me a lot when I was a child, and I started acting out. So my first drug of choice, after doing some step work later in recovery, I uncovered that I love attention in any way to get it, positive, negative. So I became the class clown and always getting in trouble, blurting out, obscenities and things that I thought were funny. And I got people to laugh, so that felt good to me, right? And I thought that was love, but I didn't know that I was what I was doing is getting in trouble, bringing the wrong attention at the wrong time, because I didn't want to deal with seriousness, and like it got uncomfortable like when people got serious and like they were focused, and I was like, why are they so focused? And like I'm a daydreamer and I'm a drifter, and I like to live in the clouds and in a fantasy. So that's my other drug of choice too, was to be in not where I am, so not present to what life has to offer me. So yeah, you know how that behavior ended up, right? Hanging around with the wrong kids, right? The other kids that were acting out, and started smoking pot and drinking. My dad had pot in the house, so I knew right when to get it. When someone offered, oh, do you know where to get pot? Let's try to find some. I was like, I know right where to get it. and there's this little can that my dad had, and I went in there and I started pinching the sack, right? And that's how it started. It was real fun, right? It was rolling joints with the Bible, like weird stuff. Like we tried smoking the banana and all kinds of weird things, like using apple core to smoke weed and like anything to get high, right? Like anything to try. Like I was just like open, and I've always kind of been an open spirit, like trying new things. So yeah, drugs was a good avenue to do that, right? Because there's so many things to try. And yeah, so it just kind of progressed, and I got kicked out of school a lot and expelled. And so I didn't really have like a prom, or like I didn't go to dance, and like I didn't have a steady girlfriend. Like I was always moving around with my dad, getting in fights with his girlfriend, and we'd move out and we'd move in, and I was changing schools all the time. So just a lot of turbulence. So I had to be adaptable. So I'm very adaptable today, and it's one of my assets, but also was a defect for a long time because I just like never really connected with people like on a deep level. I don't have friends from back in the day. Like I just lost connection with everybody because I never really stayed in one place long enough. So that's kind of sad sometimes for me today, because I'm like, I wish I had some old friends. Like I had stories back in the day, but I just don't. And I just had to accept that. So yeah, just fast forward, teenage, I became more to the court. I got in a fight with my dad, and then I got arrested for defending myself. And because I knocked down my bedroom door, and I beat up my dad pretty bad, actually. So I get why he called the cops on me, but it was kind of messed up that I went to jail. And then they shipped me to Utah because I was a run risk. And I became mental health because I tried to kill myself in juvenile hall. Another part of my sister story is mental health history of like bipolar and depression. And I got diagnosed with PTSD maybe 10 years ago or 12 years ago, I forget. So the trauma created some mental health issues. So I have that in my story. And so they shipped me to Utah, and I ended up getting emancipated and getting a lot of support in Utah. It was ran by Mormons, and they were like really supportive. And I got like a father figure guy that was kind of like a father figure. And so I looked up to him, and he gave me some good tips, like how to adult, right? And stuff I didn't learn growing up. I just kind of raised myself, and like going shopping for the family, and like doing everything and trying to hold the family together, doing the dishes and cleaning the house and washing the cars and mowing the lawn. So I'm very good at like doing things ever since a young age. I was mowing lawns for $5 at like 11 or 12 years old, right? And going shopping at 8 years old, pushing the cart down the street and stuff like that. So I'm very, part of my story is like arrogance, and like I can do this myself, and false pride, like I got this, right? So these defects were definitely a challenging growing up, and like connecting with people, because I think I'm better than anyone, and I'm smarter than you, and don't you know, and attitude, right? And these are all false coping mechanisms that covered who I really was, which was I was scared, and I was vulnerable. I was scared to get vulnerable, and I had a lot of pain repressed inside me, and it came out like so I came back from Utah, and I felt really good. I didn't smoke pot for many years. I went into school and went to mechanic school in Novato and graduated top of the class. And I started smoking pot towards the end, and my grades just instantly started going. I still graduated top of the class, but my grades went down to like B's and shit. Like I was straight A, and then they were like dropping down to B minus, because I just kind of lost that momentum. Because I have this tendency where I do things, I get bored, kind of ADHD, and I'll do something and I get good at it, and I'm like, okay, I mastered that, I'm done, and move on to the next thing. So I call myself like a jackass of all trades, a master of none. You know what I mean? Because like I think I know something, and I'm really good at like when I get into something. But what happens is I don't stick with it. So it's been a challenge to like hold a job and to like just like actually have a career, right? So I went to school, and then I started smoking again, and then it became a habit, like 3-5 times a day. I'm pissed off, smoke. Let's smoke. And I didn't really know I was an addict. I knew it was in my family, and I've been to AA meetings when I was in the group home, but there was like a bunch of old people complaining. That's what I thought. A bunch of old people complaining. That's what recovery is. And I was just so like blinded to the reality of what it was. And so I kept going, and I'd quit smoking, and I'd drink only 3 times a week, and then I drank for like a year and didn't smoke weed. And then I was always changing things, right? And I'd do mushrooms on the weekend, So I didn't think I had a problem because I could quit. I could stop this, but I was always like doing something else, like eating tacos or whatever, like I always like changed my drug of choice. And fast forward, that worked for a while, and I was able to somewhat hold a job, and like, but I was changing jobs a lot because of like not waking up on time, and I'm kind of insomniac, and like I would stay up late, and then wake up. Well, I wouldn't wake up when the alarm goes off, because if you're up to 4 a.m, the alarm's going off at 7. I don't know about you, I'm not going to hear it. So I've gotten fired for jobs as a mechanic, like because of tardiness. Not because I'm not a good mechanic, but because of my tardiness most of the time. And I've messed up. I'm a human. I've messed up cars and stuff. We all make mistakes. But I've worked on cars high and fixed them fine, right? Like, so I don't have a problem, right? And then my brother died, like fast forward 10 years later, my little brother, he was like my little bro, and he was like my favorite family member, and I love that guy. And they found him hung in jail in San Rafael at the Blue Roof Inn, they call it. And they killed him, basically. They said he was suicidal, but he had never had suicidal history. I'm the one with the mental health stuff. And I'm sure he has some kind of mental health stuff, but I know he didn't kill himself. He's not that type of guy. So they made it look like an accident, and that's what I believe, and my mom believes. And anyway, it spiraled me into a very dark place of sad desperation, loneliness, and anger. And I was just mad, man. I was so mad, right? My little brother, man. And I was just... my world fell apart, and I was in Clear Lake, and they kept giving me methamphetamine, and I've tried it before and I enjoyed it, but I was like, I'll never do that again. It's too addictive, and the weird shit you do, I wouldn't do on other drugs. So I thought I'd never do it again. And then people kept giving me it, and I started getting it for free, right? And again, I'm not an addict. I'm not buying it, right? Justification, rationalization, and all the stuff that comes with using that I just couldn't take accountability for. And it got dark real fast. Within a couple of years, I was already a nomad at the time. I was going to hot springs and rainbow gatherings. I was just doing the hitchhiking and rainbow and just doing the nomad thing. And I was going to do that for 2 years. It turned into 8. And then my brother died around 6 years into that travel thing. And I just really I was kind of like drifting. I had nowhere to go, and I didn't know what I was doing in my life. And I tried to get back into housing and get a job, and I had a hard time holding a job, and all the rents quadrupled in that time I was traveling. And I was like, oh my God, I can't even afford this. And so I just was drifting, and my brother died. And then I spiraled, man, and it got dark and bad. And I got arrested a couple times and got the court card. And that's when the seed was planted that I might have a problem. Right. And I went on the court card and got checked in, and I was like, you had to do 30 meetings in 3 months or something. I forget. And so I was like, I'll do 60. I'll be cured. Right. I'll do double the amount, and I'll be cured. And that's just how arrogant I was. I thought that would cure me. I just didn't know about the disease of addiction and how it works. And basically I got arrested again, a year later. I was getting therapy. I thought going to therapy once a week would be enough. It kept me clean, or I was abstinent for a year, but it wasn't enough. And my dad's like, do you think that maybe that's not enough? And I was like, yeah, maybe. Whatever, Dad, screw you. I don't want to be like you, but I'm just like him, right? And funny how all the warnings are there, like my higher power and friends and family and all kinds of signs were showing itself to get help. But I didn't know how to admit I had a problem, and I didn't want to admit I had a problem. So basically, I spiraled. I was putting cigarette butts out I was putting cigarettes out. I was stabbing myself with safety pins, and I was really dark, man. Because I was so angry, and I was taking all that anger. Instead of hurting other people, I hurt myself. So I was very introverted. I was in a van down by the river, burning myself with the meth pipe and stabbing myself with needles. And it got really dark, man, and talking to the spirits and swinging sticks in the trees and half naked, on the streets running. I was that crazy guy, you know what I mean? So you can't even believe I'm the guy I am today. You can't even imagine that's where I was. But that's where I was, the dark desperation of just pure dereliction and pure mental madness, talking to Trump and talking to Bush and hanging my brother up on the hooks and stripping, and all the anger I just was taking out and smashing my phone and throwing and running a trike into a tree and jumping fences and just total hurting myself. I'm surprised I'm even alive, the stuff I did. And come on, kill me. They put a gun at my fist, like, come on, do it. You know what I mean? I was that angry, and I wanted to die, but I couldn't kill myself because I was like, I couldn't do that to my family. So I did have some, I wasn't totally self-centered completely. I had some little bit of hope in me, but I just didn't know what to do. And what happened, it just got worse and worse. And I was like, finally I overdosed, and I woke up in the hospital 5 days later, and my mom was sleeping on the hospital floor the whole time. And she woke up and she said, "Yay, I'm alive." And so I had a new sense of hope when I woke up. And I didn't see it then, but like as I've processed and done some work around here, and seeing my mom's, her love basically kind of saved my life. And I didn't see it then, but I thought I needed to get help. They gave me the rehab papers, you know, and they're like, get out, here you go. And I was like, usually just throw them in the trash. I don't need those fucking things, right? I don't have a problem. But then something told me, I was like, no, I need to like get some help. So I looked through and I called and nothing worked out. And I Googled like what takes my I was on Medicare, Medi-Cal, and on disability already for my PTSD. So I was already had an income, so I could, but I couldn't afford like to come to an expensive rehab either. So I found Second Chance, and I started living in the parking lot and going to Second Chance. It's an outpatient program in Hayward. And I started going there and doing meetings, and I was living in my van in the parking lot. And I just basically, I was like, yeah, I need to change everything. They say one thing you need to do is change everything. So I stopped going new to the bars. I stopped going down Mission Street in Hayward. I stopped going down B Street, right? I stopped going down by the those hotels, those cheap, ratty hotels where I'd stay in and get high for a couple nights when I had money, right? I stopped going where the bed bugs were and all the bugs, right? They were crawling out of me, and it was really bad, man. I had to get rid of a car, these bugs, right? The mental illness and the desperation. And I basically kept going to meetings and rehab, and I started collecting some clean time, and I was like, I need to get into housing. The addicts are everywhere in the dumpsters at Second Chance, right? Like at 2 a.m. And I'm like, go say something. No, I'm not going to say nothing, because that's all it takes for me to want to use again. Just getting close to them. And then they ask for a lighter. I'm like, here you go. Here's a lighter right here. Boom. Right? I still have my lighter right here for incense and candles. But yeah, so I learned like I can't be around those people, and I had to like learn to like set boundaries and learn healthy boundaries. And there's a grief group I went to, and I started processing my brother's grief, my brother's loss, and you know, crying in front of people finally, and like being like, this sucks, man. I can't do this anymore. And just admitting that I had a problem was really powerful. The first step, working through denial, right? And denial stands, don't even know I am lying. So, yeah, we got to learn. And then HALT, hungry, angry, lonely, tired, right? These are important things I got to remember, because I work like 8 hours. I don't usually work 8-hour days. I'm really tired right now, so bear with me. My back's hurting, and when I'm in pain, it triggers up stuff for me. So I have to remember to like slow down, take a breath, do some stretches, and slow down is like my mantra. And I learned that from Second Chance and going to meetings. I met my sponsor. He's the program director. I started going to school for substance abuse counseling, and I went to that program. And I just needed something to do with my time, and I didn't want to go back as a mechanic. It's too stressful on my back. And I was just like, yeah, I don't want to do that anymore. I need to do something different. And they said change everything. So I really listened to that and changed the people, places, and things. I changed my phone number. I've had the same phone number for like 9 years, guys. That's unheard of, like, for me. Like, and this is the same phone for like 3 years. Like, and I've never thrown it, like, or smashed it or broke it. You know what I mean? Like, recovery is amazing. Like, I respect things today. Like, I take care of things. Like, I take care of my health. And I learned that from like coming here and hearing from you guys and working the 12 steps and having some discipline and like not listening to the voices that, oh, I should go kill myself. I still hear it sometimes, like random. My life is so good. There's no way I'm going to kill myself. But there's still that voice in there that's like crying out for failure. That little kid that like, no one loves me. No one understands me. Don't you know I'm the only one that struggles with this fucking mental problem and this darkness, and like how come everyone else can have a healthy relationship and get married and have kids and shit? Why can't I even have like a normal relationship, right? Like sometimes these are the things I struggle with in my recovery. So what I've learned is that I just need to focus on me and not focus on what you guys are doing. Listen to what you guys are doing and sometimes follow to direction, but also like we all have our own journey and we all have our own way of doing things. So don't let anyone tell you like how to do everything, right? Like find what's good, what works for you. And that's what I love about this program, because you can take what you want and leave the rest, right? God could be Group of Desperation, the great outdoors, like higher powers, my hot springs. Like going to go up this weekend. I was going to go to the queer spiritual retreat, but they're sold out. I'm praying that there's an opening that opens up, but I'm gonna go to the hot springs, right? That's just as good for me, like, and be away from people and be in nature. So that's God for me, right? And dogs, I walk dogs for a living. Dog backwards is God, and they teach me how to be like, they're so present and loving, and that those dogs that I walk, they love me, right, unconditionally, and they respect me, and I respect them. And when I'm like contractor in my ego, they show me where I'm at with their behavior, because we're all like a reflection of each other, right? And so I'm careful who I hang around today. I'm very like disciplined about, like, when I go to Burning Man, I'm a ranger now, and I hang out with rangers that don't use, especially on shift. They might party after, but I do my own thing after shift anyway. And we have like a burn barrel, and we hang out and talk about how we help people. So it's all about service for me. Like, that really has helped me stay clean. I've had a service commitment in all this time, and I've been in NA over 9 years, and I've had a service commitment every week. I have some kind of form of service, because that keeps me coming back. It keeps me helping, and it helps me with the dilemma of I know shit, and it helps me with like I'm all alone, because it forces me to come to a meeting when I think I don't need one, because my disease still tells me I'm cured and I don't need a meeting, right? I've celebrated 8 years, June 18th, 2017. And that's my brother's birthday. My clean date's my brother's birthday, and I did not plan that. So me and my brother still have a connection, a higher power, and he tried to get me clean many times, and I was very mad at him, right, for him not listening and not going through the rehab and running away, and I helped turn him in and all that stuff, and I had to process a lot of that and just like realize my brother still loves me and I still love him, and that I have new brothers in this fellowship and sisters and new family members and his name was Steve, and I have so many friends that are Steve now. Like, I walk dogs for this guy Steve, and he gave me a back brace to work today. Like, just like, that's a blessing, right? Like, all these little things are where my brother comes through as a spirit still. But I have to be open to see that and to not be mad and upset all the time that he's gone. So I've processed a lot of that, and I celebrate when I go out in the nature and I go fishing, like I'm with him for my clean date on June 18th for his birthday too. So it's kind of like a beautiful thing how I celebrate, and that's like a higher power thing, right? A spiritual energy that gives me like hope and love on a hard day, right? Because sometimes there's those days when we get clean, like, oh, it's 9 months clean, time to celebrate, right? Let's go get high, right? Oh, we got 1 year clean, like, I got this. I can just take one, right? But I don't know about you. I've tried to take one, and then it ends up way more than one, and end up in handcuffs or in the mental institution, or I end up just crying by the tree over there because I'm so alone, and I'm so like mad at myself because the guilt and the shame, right? Of like, what did I do? Why did I do this again? I know better, right? I know better, but I didn't choose better, because we all have a choice. And today I'm grateful for my choice. This program has given me a choice today, and I choose to be happy, joyous, and free, right? I choose that every morning before I get out of bed. How I start my day before I even get out of bed. Thank you, God, for another day clean. Thank you for giving me another chance at life. Thank you, brother, for being there with me, and thank you for this bed. And like, I go into a gratitude list, and thank you for my health. Thank you for the beating of my heart, the breath of my lungs, the health in my body, and just, you kind of get the point. Every day it looks a little different. I'm grateful for my sponsees. I also have sponsees where I work with and sponsor, and we meet every week. And on Sundays, I call it Self-Love Sundays, because that's the day I honor little Artie, and I nurture him. And what would you like to do? Go for a walk in the park, or want to eat ice cream or whatever? I don't eat that junk food anymore, but whatever your little kid is looking for, right? Like, we honor that, because we're all different parts of our, like, we're an adult now, but there's different parts when we grow up that I feel need to be honored and expressed. And that helps me stay like really grounded in reality, and also like doing things that I would never do as an adult, right? Because I don't have time for that. I need to work and adult and do this. So it's important that I set a day. And so we do tradition work right now, and we're working on tradition 2, which is really beautiful, of goodwill and how our higher power, and we don't govern, right? It's a really powerful tradition. I really like it, and it teaches us like I'm no better than you guys. I'm just here. Just because I have 8 years doesn't mean you don't have like way more knowledge about something that I might need, and I might have something you might need, right? So just keep coming back and like ask each other. Like, we all are our eyes and ears here, and sometimes that darkness that we can't see, that shadow self that's always there, the shadows behind me, right? But you can see it, right? And then just try to call each other out, and like don't. Like, I like to not like justify other people's bullshit and like, hey, no, you're full of shit, right? Because you just lied to me, right? And I don't appreciate that, right? Or whatever. And like, stick up for yourself, because boundaries setting healthy boundaries are good. And if they don't take it well, then maybe that's not your friend, right? Like, just remember, like, your friends should respect you and treat you with dignity and love and kindness. And we're all human, and we all make mistakes, but generally speaking, people should be nice to you. And so I keep my circle tight and small, because I want people to love me for who I am, and I want to love you for who you are. And if you can't do that and reciprocate, then I just step away. And I'm not like going to push you away forever. I just might take a break, right? And then maybe someday you'll work that step 5 or whatever, and like see that defect and be like, oh, I'm sorry I did that, or that was fucked up, or whatever, right? Because we get to grow around here, and we get to like see each other change, and that's a beautiful thing. Like, if you keep coming back, you start getting more time, and you start getting that camaraderie, and you start going to dances and camp outs together, and you see the same faces, right? And you're like, wow, you're looking good, like, wow, I remember you struggled with that, now you don't. It's such a beautiful thing to watch. And like, I went to Burning Man this year, and I didn't have a meltdown. This is my 13th burn, and I didn't use. It was my 4th burn not using. So I've done more Burning Mans high, right? And I didn't melt down and like have a temper tantrum. So I got to see how much I'd grown this year. It was really powerful. And that I'm like more grounded. I did 55 hours of volunteer work. So I got a free ticket next year, and which I'll do just as many hours next year probably, because I love to be of service and to help. Rangers, they just come, we just get a walkie-talkie, and they come and they ask. And sometimes I sit with a person that has been high they took too much. And I know how to handle that today. And it doesn't trigger me, because the desire has been lifted for me. And I just get to hold space for you and help you come down and offer you water and hold you. Can I touch you? Is it going to be okay? You're all right. A lot of times it's just like they took too much LSD, right? Or took too much ketamine or whatever. And they're just freaking out. It's an intense place. And it's cool to be able to hold space like that for people today, and not want to get high, and like help them and say, hey, I'm in recovery, and if you need any help, or you think you're an addict, there's 12-step meeting right here at Burning Man. There's meetings every day. So I go to meetings out there, and that's really powerful. And I travel the world. I save money now, and I have like thousands of dollars in an account. I have a car. I have housing. Everything has been, I made a pact with God. Like, if I lose everything. So I make sure I never use, because I want to keep my housing and my car and my bank accounts and my Bitcoin and all the stuff I have, right? I have a lot of different money all over the place. And I don't want to lose all that. I've worked really hard to get where I'm at today. And I've learned like using drugs will not help in any form for me. All it is a distraction from my feelings. All it is a coping mechanism that doesn't work for me anymore, because I'm allergic, right? I have a mental condition that I can't self-medicate. I can't self-medicate because I'm not a doctor. I think I am still a doctor sometimes. I'm raw vegan now, and I use plants as medicine. I collect aloe vera on my dog walks. I pick flowers. I throw them in my salads, and I make my own juice. I do lemon ginger blast. I'm really into vitamins and minerals and you should see my cupboard. I have like thousands of dollars of like vitamins and minerals and green powders and beet powders and mushroom powders and like all kinds of stuff for health. And I make these concoctions and I add it to my juice. And so I'm very into my health today. Like my temple is my body, and I treat it with respect. And so I don't drink sugar and I don't eat candies and cookies. And in my early recovery, I drank coffee and I did all the things, you know. But over time, I just slowly used my recovery to like apply. Like I was addicted to cheese, and I was just like eating cheese to numb in the middle of the night. And I started getting diverticulitis and gastritis and heartburn all the time, and I started having health issues. So December 1st, I started a juice fast. I did 66 days juicing, no food. And I cleansed out my microbiome, and I cleansed out all that poison that was in me. And now I'm not addicted to all the cheese and all that bad chips and dips and all that stuff that's yummy. I mean, don't get me wrong, it's really yummy. It just doesn't resonate with my gut anymore and my health, and I don't break out and pimples, and my back's better. Like my whole body is so much better. So recovery has taught me how to like take care of myself and also love you where you're at. And I've become super accepting of like whatever you do is none of my business, right? Like if you come to me and make it my business, then I might offer you some suggestions, but I'm not here to tell you what to do. I'm not here to tell you this what will work. I'm only telling you my experience, what worked for me. And eating raw vegetables and fruits. I mostly just live off fruit and have like a salad at night and nuts and seeds. And people are like, where do you get your protein? I'm like, from sprouts. I sprout my own sprouts and stuff. And I just feel so good when I eat a salad. I've relapsed recently, talking about addiction. I have been backsliding on, I had a piece of cheese the other day and I got all tired. And then, I know, right? I know, it always makes people laugh when I say that.
Threw it all away.
Yeah. And I ate, some bean burrito, some Taco Bell, and like I relapsed on bacon and basically bacon, eggs, and hash browns. And I was like, I'm going to eat whatever I want, and it's okay. I'm not beating myself up. But I've been having a struggle with cooked food again, because once you start eating, it's so seductive and addicting. And I'm like, oh, I want that. Now I'm just going down a spiral. So I'm like 50% raw vegan now instead of like 90 to 100%. And I've learned like, what I've learned about recovery, it's not about doing things perfect. It's about being like, give yourself a little leeway and like, and do your best, but just don't pick up, right? Like I also want to share, I texted in driving, I crashed my travel van. So I'm addicted to my phone. So just because I quit drugs doesn't mean I don't have a problem with something. So I'm very clear of what's going on. I just have to remember to just like give myself a break and be gentle, because I'm my own worst enemy, and I beat myself up, and it's like, no, I'm not a failure because I had a cheese stick the other day. I just don't buy it. Like once I start buying blocks of cheddar again, then you know what I mean? When I had 10 types of cheese in my fridge again, then I might have to like do some step work around it, right? And like I might need to like question what's going on and talk to my sponsor, and I recommend when you guys get out of here is just go to a meeting and listen to the message of hope, and hopefully you hear something good. And then, you know, if someone's story, they have what you want, like a family and kids or whatever, money, or they're smiling and happy and they travel the world like my sponsor, ask them to sponsor you, right? And ask them, hey, can you help me? Or just get their number and start calling them and building a relationship. And I'll tell you, having a sponsor has saved my life so many times. I would not have 8 years clean without a sponsor. I wouldn't have 8 years clean without a service. And I wouldn't have 8 years clean without my sponsees either. Because when I think about using, I don't want to let my sponsees down, having that conversation, right? I don't want to let all you guys down, right? Because my time is valuable to me, right? And my life is valuable to me. And even when my disease tells me it's not. So, I just pray and hope and look forward to seeing you guys out at a meeting when I get out of here. That makes me smile every time I go to a meeting and I see one of you guys actually at a meeting. Just gives me a lot of hope, because I'm like, man, that's cool. You guys have a chance, right? You have a chance at a first-class life, and you have a chance to be happy and travel to Japan or New Zealand. I'm going to Africa soon, and I'm going all over the world, all the places I wanted to go. And it's been, because I've been talking about it for years, right? And now it's time to put in the action, because this is an action program. By doing what we say and doing what we do, we get what we want. We get what you do. Like if you do that, if I do it, it's almost guaranteed I'll get that, right? So that's what I've learned, and I keep coming back even when I don't want to, and I keep sharing, and I keep asking for God's guidance, and I ask my sponsors, my sponsees. My sponsees help me just as much as I help them. They think, oh, thank you so much, and I'm like, I'm not on a pedestal, dude. You guys help me just as much. You help me stay in the process of working my steps and working the program. So it's a two-way street. We're all here together in unity, and the fabric and the ties that bind us together are stronger than the disease and the outside forces that would tear us apart. So I hope you guys heard something. I hope you guys keep coming back, and I'm excited to hear what you have to say. Thanks for allowing me to share.
Thanks.